Hi, welcome or welcome back to Hair Diaries YouTube channel. So in today's video, I will be showing you guys how to get your ends of your braid to be barreled like this. So there are several ways you can do this, but this is the main way that I usually do it. I use a crochet hook and I use either a lighter. If you do not want to use a lighter or you cannot use a lighter, you can use a blow dryer. So first, you're going to want to make sure your braid is to the length that you need it, and you are going to wrap it around. When you wrap it around the first time, make sure you are wrapping it around tightly because that's going to set the tone for the barrel. Once you have wrapped it tightly, you will continue to wrap upward, but you will continue to wrap upward in another tightly motion as well. Once you reach about 3/4, you're going to take a crochet hook, you're going to put it through the braid. Then when you put it through the braid, you are going to take one of the pieces that you are wrapping around and you're going to pull it through that braid that you just pushed the crochet hook through. Now what this is doing is that this is allowing that part that you just wrapped to be secure. It's not coming out. You can continue to wrap upwards or you can continue to wrap downwards. If you choose to wrap upwards, you're going to do the same thing with the crochet hook to crochet the little pieces of hair that's left. But I just chose to crochet it back downward to blend those little thin pieces into the thicker portions that's down below. So you could choose to leave it like this, but because her hair was not that long, I used a lighter. If you cannot use a lighter because the client's hair is long, you can use a blow dryer. They are doing the same thing. The only difference is that a lighter is direct fire. However, a blow dryer has heat. And what the heat is going to do, it is going to melt the braiding hair together. So if you do not have a lighter, you can use a blow dryer. This is me doing it again. Here are some things that are very important to note. When you are doing barreled ends, you do not want to make the end of your braid very thick. The reason being, if the ending of your braid is very thick, when it is time for you to wrap it up, it will be very hard for you to wrap that hair up because of the excessive thickness of the braid. So if you guys notice, when I'm wrapping, my hair towards the ending of the braid is a little bit more thinner, and it is also not that long. However, if your client wants longer barrels or they want the hair longer, then of course you will have to braid it longer. If you're unsure on how long to braid your client's hair for the barrel, what I would suggest you to do is when you braid your first braid, you are going to do a barrel to see if either you need to increase the thickness of the braid, decrease the thickness of the braid, or increase the length. Because sometimes you may braid a client's hair. Let's say let's see you see how my client has her hair on her shoulder. Let's say I just braid it to the bottom of to the top of the chair, and that's where I braid it. When I go to wrap it in a barrel, there's not enough hair for me to wrap with, so I of course it needs to braid it longer, which it is braided longer. But what I'm saying is, if you are unsure, that is what you will do for you to determine whether or not you need to braid it longer, use more hair, or whether or not you need to use less hair. And also, you don't want your barrels to look skinny and stubbled. So you want to use a good amount of hair, but you do not want to make the ending of the braid too thick. Something very important that I should have mentioned at the beginning of the video was that it is very important that your client keeps their head in a neutral straight position, meaning they cannot be keeping their head to the side, tilted to the other side, tilted forward. They need to keep their head up straight so that you can make sure that the barrels are being done straight across, because essentially you want to give it an even look. And if their head is slightly tilted off or tilted forward, it's going to make the bob uneven. So just pay attention to that when you are twisting the hair. Sometimes you could take a step back to look at how the hair looks from a farther away perspective, but that is something very important to note. The rest of this video is simply just going to be me continuing to do it if you need more visuals, but that is essentially how you do it. That is the way how I do it. There are other ways that it can be done, like with rubber bands and stuff like that, but this way is what I found have worked the best, and it does not come out. Lastly, to really complete your barrel, I would recommend you taking the scissors and trimming any excess hairs that may be present or that may not have get melted away. Just trim it and make sure the barrels are cleaned up. Just like that little piece that is sticking out, you can go ahead and just trim it. If you're doing this style with boho hair, when I cut the boho hair, I usually like to cut it longer, and then I will go ahead and make smaller cuts because I don't want to go in and just cut it and then I cut it too short. Sometimes I like it to be just a little bit longer than the barrels, but then once it reaches to that level, I'll go ahead and clean it up. And it also depends on the look that the client is going for. These are the results from the style. As you can see, it is even, her barrels are secured, and her hair came out pretty good to me. If this tutorial helped you, please comment, like, share, and follow. And thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below what other type of videos you would like for me to post. And like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. See you in my next video. Ciao.